earth. Today I'm showing you the top 10, and I'm warning you, the numbers are about to get insane. Welcome to Luxiq, a channel dedicated to the art of building wealth and a luxurious life. We motivate you to learn essential financial skills and knowledge that school education failed to. So make sure to take notes and subscribe to the channel for regular updates. Let's start with number 10, the Rolex Submariner. Now I know what you're thinking. A Rolex? That's not that expensive. And you're right, the modern Submariner costs around $9,000 to $15,000. But here's the thing. Some billionaires don't wear modern Rolex watches. They wear vintage ones. And some vintage Submariners, they cost over $500,000. Here's why. History. A 1960s Rolex Submariner isn't just a watch. It's a piece of horological history. It's what James Bond wore in the films. It's what professional divers wore to the bottom of the ocean. A Rolex Submariner survived the deepest places on Earth. The insane part? Only a few pristine vintage models exist. When one hits the auction block, billionaires fight over it. Some have sold for over $700,000. That's for a watch. Think about that. So why do billionaires spend this much on a Submariner? Because it's not about telling time. It's about owning a legend. It's about owning something that survived history and still works perfectly. That's worth more than gold. But wait, a vintage Submariner is just the beginning. The next watch is different. This one was designed for something most people can never experience. Number 9, the Omega Speedmaster Professional. This isn't just any watch. This is the watch that went to the moon. In 1962, NASA needed a watch that could survive the extreme conditions of space, vacuum. Temperature swings from -100 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, cosmic radiation. They tested multiple watches from multiple brands. Only one passed, the Omega Speedmaster. Here's the insane part. Every astronaut since has worn one. When you see footage of astronauts on the moon in the 1960s, they're wearing Speedmasters. When modern astronauts go to the International Space Station, Speedmaster has been in space over 300 times. Now, modern Speedmasters cost around $6,000. But vintage, flight-qualified models, the ones actually worn by astronauts, those go for over $100,000. Some have sold for over $300,000. Why do billionaires want these? Because it's the only watch certified by humans to work in space. It's proven in the most extreme environment possible. You can't buy that credibility. Omega earned it over 60 years. Bill Gates owns one, Elon Musk owns one, Richard Branson owns one. Because owning a watch that went to space, that's owning a piece of human achievement. These watches are expensive, but we're still in the warm-up. The next one? This is where the real prices start. Number 8, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Jumbo. This is the watch that changed everything. In 1972, luxury watches were round and traditional. Then, Audemars Piguet released the Royal Oak. It had an octagonal shape, an integrated metal bracelet. It looked like nothing else. Celebrities freaked out. Billionaires wanted it. It became a status symbol instantly. Today, the modern Royal Oak Jumbo costs around $70,000. But here's where it gets crazy. Vintage Royal Oaks from the 1970s and 1980s, those cost $200,000 to $500,000. The rarest models go for over $1 million. In 2021, a Royal Oak from 1976 sold for $1.26 million. That's more than most people's houses. Why? Because it's the blueprint for luxury sports watches. Everything that came after copied the Royal Oak, but there's only the original. Only a few original jumbos exist in pristine condition. Billionaires collect them like art, because that's what they are. They're not watches. They're wearable art. And art appreciates. We're climbing the ladder. Prices are getting bigger. But the next watch, this is designed by someone with a reputation for madness in the luxury world. Number 7, the Richard Mille RM 56-02. Now, Richard Mille isn't a household name like Rolex, but in the world of ultra-wealthy billionaires, Richard Mille is legendary. Here's what Richard Mille does. He takes the concept of a watch and makes it absurd in the best way possible. The RM 56-02 costs $2.2 million. Let me repeat that. $2.2 million for a single watch. What makes it worth that? Materials. It's made from sapphire crystal, titanium, gold, but it's not the materials. It's the engineering. The watch has 680 individual components. It took master craftsmen over 1,000 hours to assemble one watch. But here's the insane part. It only exists in limited quantities. Richard Mille makes maybe 50 to 100 watches per year, total. Not the RM56-02, the entire brand. So, when one of these drops, billionaires line up. Who owns one? Everyone from soccer stars to tech billionaires. Because owning a Richard Mille isn't about telling time. It's about showing the world you're in the absolute top tier. It's the watch equivalent of saying, I can afford to spend what most people earn in 40 years on my wrist. 2.2 million. That's mind-blowing. But we're not done. The next watch is even more insane. And it comes with a story that sounds made up. Before we proceed ahead, if you've been gaining valuable knowledge so far, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more of such videos. Number 6, Jacob & Co. Astronomia Tourbillon. This watch is insane, and not in a subtle way. Jacob & Co. is known for taking luxury to extremes. This watch costs $620,000, but unlike other expensive watches, you're not paying for subtle craftsmanship, you're paying for spectacle. The Astronomia has a moving armillary sphere inside the case. That's a rotating celestial map. You look at the watch, and a 3D model of the solar system rotates inside, while keeping perfect time. It's engineering theater. But here's what makes it insane. The tourbillon cage. Inside this watch, there's a rotating cage that holds the balance wheel. It spins once every minute, while the planets rotate, while the watch keeps time. It's like looking into the universe while checking the time. Billionaires buy this because it's not practical. It's art. It's insanity wrapped in gold and Swiss engineering. It's saying I'm so rich that I can afford to buy a watch that exists purely for beauty and spectacle. Who owns one? Tech billionaires, sports stars, people with so much money that practicality doesn't matter. Because how many billionaires actually care about the time? They have people to handle that. They wear watches like this because it's a statement. I have arrived. I am beyond normal. I wear a solar system on my wrist. We're getting into the realm of the absurd, and it's about to get more absurd. The next watch costs more than some mansions. Number 5, Patek Philippe Nautilus Aquanaut. This isn't just any Nautilus. This is the steel sports model, and it might be the most sought-after watch on Earth. Here's the thing. Patek Philippe is the king of watches. They've been making luxury watches since 1839. The Nautilus is their flagship. It's sleek, it's elegant, it's unmistakably Patek Philippe. Modern Nautilus watches cost around $150,000. But the vintage ones, especially the original models from the 1970s, some have sold for over $1.1 million. But here's the absurd part. You can't just buy one. Patek Philippe has a waiting list. If you walk into a Patek Philippe boutique today and want a Nautilus, you wait 5 to 10 years, maybe longer. Some billionaires have been on the list for decades. This creates a secondary market. Billionaires with connections buy Nautilus watches at retail price and immediately sell them for triple the price. It's a status symbol and an investment wrapped into one. Why is this watch so coveted? Because it's the watch that says you've made it. Not Richard Mille, crazy expensive, just elegantly, sophisticatedly expensive. It's what Steve Jobs wore. It's what Warren Buffett wears. It's what every serious collector wants. The crazy part? The demand is so high that some people are buying Nautilus watches just to flip them. It's become more valuable than gold. So far, we've covered watches costing up to $1.1 million. But the next 5, they exist in a different universe of wealth. If you want to see the watches that make billionaires' eyes water, hit subscribe now. These are about to get unreal. Let's continue. Number 4, Rolex Daytona Paul Newman. This is probably the most famous watch in the world, and it's insanely expensive. Here's the story. In the 1960s, Paul Newman, the actor, was a race car driver. He wore a Rolex Daytona. It was his personal watch, but unlike normal Daytonas, his had a unique dial. It was slightly different. Over time, this specific dial became known as the Paul Newman dial. When Paul Newman died, his personal watch came up for auction. Rolex fanatics and billionaires bid frantically. The winning bid, $15.1 million. That's the most expensive wristwatch ever sold at auction, ever. But here's the crazy part. It's not even the most beautiful Daytona. It's not the most technically advanced. It's famous because Paul Newman wore it, because he was a legend, because Hollywood and horology merged in one watch. Now, other vintage Daytonas with similar dials have sold for $10 to $14 million. Billionaires are actively hunting for them. The market is insane. Why would someone spend $15 million on a watch? Because it's not an investment. It's immortality. It's owning something that connects you to one of the greatest actors who ever lived. It's owning a piece of Hollywood history that also happens to tell time. This watch changed the auction world forever. It proved that watches aren't accessories. They're assets. They're investments. They can be worth more than houses, cars, yachts. One watch, $15 million. $15 million. That's staggering. But the next watch, it's not worn. It's barely been seen. It's the rarest watch on Earth. Number 3, Patek Philippe Henry Graves Jr. Super Complication. This watch is from 1933. It took 9 years to make, and only one exists. Here's what makes it super. It has 24 complications. That means 24 different functions. A perpetual calendar, an annual calendar, a chronograph, moon phases, you name it. No other watch in the world has this many functions working in perfect harmony. When it came up for auction in 2014, Billionaires went crazy. The winning bid, $24.4 million. That's more than most Picassos, more than most sculptures for a watch. But here's the thing, no one wears this watch. It's too valuable. It's literally too precious to use. It sits in a vault. It's insured for tens of millions. The owner probably checks on it maybe once a year. Why would someone spend $24 million on something they can't even wear? Because it's the Mona Lisa of watches. It's the Holy Grail. It's the most complicated mechanical watch ever made. And there's only one. Now, this watch holds the record for most expensive wristwatch ever sold. It's not a record that will be broken anytime soon, because you'd need a watch more complicated than this one from an earlier period with more historical significance. Basically, you'd need to create a new version from the 1800s, which doesn't exist. So this watch sits, appreciated by maybe 100 people on Earth, worth $24 million. $24 million for a watch you can't wear. That's peak billionaire. But wait, the next 2 watches, they break reality. One of them doesn't even work, and it still costs millions. Number 2, Cartier Crash. Watch only produced for Princess Diana. There are only 3 in existence, and one of them was owned by Princess Diana. Here's the story. In the 1960s, Cartier created a watch called the Crash. It has an irregular, almost melting shape, asymmetrical, surreal. It looks like it literally crashed, like time itself melted. Only a handful were made. Then Cartier stopped making them. Decades later, in the 1990s, Princess Diana was seen wearing one. Suddenly, the Crash became legendary, a watch worn by royalty. When Diana died, the watch disappeared. Mystery surrounded it. Then, in 2017, a Crash came up for auction. It sold for $403,000. But that was just a regular Crash. The one Diana wore? That's never been sold publicly. It's estimated to be worth over $5 million. Possibly more. Why? Because it's royalty. It's history. It's a watch that connected to one of the most famous people who ever lived. The combination makes it priceless. Billionaires would pay millions for Princess Diana's personal watch. But it's not for sale. It's locked away. It exists, but it's untouchable. That makes it even more valuable in the billionaire mind. Because you can't have it, and billionaires want what they can't have. A watch owned by royalty, worth millions, completely unavailable. But the final watch? It's even more insane. And the crazy part? It doesn't even work as a watch. Number 1, Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime. This is the most expensive watch Patek Philippe has ever made, and it costs more than most private jets. Here's why. This watch has 20 complications. It's essentially 2 watches in one. It has a minute repeater that chimes the time out loud. It has a perpetual calendar that will work until the year 3200. It has 2 dials, one for local time and one for a second time zone. It's a mechanical masterpiece. The price? $31 million. That's $31 million. But here's the insane part. Patek Philippe only made 5 of these watches. 5. in the entire world. And they're not making more. It's a limited edition of 5. Why would someone spend $31 million? Because it's the pinnacle of human watchmaking. Because it exists at the intersection of art, engineering, and luxury. Because only 5 exist. Because owning one means you're in the top 0.0001% of wealth on Earth. This watch doesn't just tell time. It orchestrates time, it plays music, it shows you what year it will be in 200 years. It's not a watch. It's a mechanical prophecy device. And get this, the waiting list for this watch is longer than any Rolex. Billionaires are waiting years. Some might never get one because there are only 5. And Patek Philippe makes it clear they're not making more. This watch represents the pinnacle of what billionaires chase. Not practicality, not even beauty necessarily, but scarcity, exclusivity, the knowledge that only a handful of people on Earth own what you own. That's what $31 million buys you. Access to something almost no one can have. So there you have it. The 10 most expensive watches worn by billionaires, from the Rolex Submariner at $500,000 to the Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime at $31 million.